Welcome to the Taking Vegas podcast for the weekend of October 21st. Get some big action in college football for the weekend. Another big play in the NFL. A big trade took place on Thursday with a superstar moving. You don't really see that during the pro football season. Most importantly, you got some free pick winners along with a big play. And I mean big play in the NFL. Good to be with everyone here on the Taking Vegas podcast. I am your host, Chris Hodge. Pleasure to be with everyone for today. I have some things I have to speak about before I get to free picks and game breakdowns and all this other stuff that we do here to try to make people money when it comes to sports wagering. Thursday night, the Lakers played the Clippers. I don't understand what the problem is. I really don't. I don't know why we're in this way as a society. Okay? Because it's not just a loss. I can care less about the loss. I wasn't on the game either which way, right? I didn't bet the Clippers minus 5.5. I didn't take the Lakers plus 5.5. So it was irrelevant from a money standpoint for me. I just wanted to watch good basketball. Obviously, the Clippers are a team that's favored to be in at least the Western Conference Finals, if not the NBA Finals at the end of the year. And the Lakers are the Lakers. Star power, LeBron, AD, Russ, if you want to call them that. Here's my problem. Russell Westbrook, Patrick Beverley, and Kendrick Nunn combine to shoot 1 of 25. 1 of 25. By the way, the one was a bounce. It was a three-point shot by Beverley. I think it was in the first quarter. He needed a roll to make that shot. That's the one. You go 1 of 25. Those three combined, 7 points, 4 turnovers. Okay. LeBron said it after the game. Bad shooting nights happen. Fine. No problem. Bad shooting nights happen. I get it. Here's what I can't stand. Russell Westbrook actually in his post-game news conference says, "Oh, it was a solid game." In what world, on what planet are we that soft as a society right now? That game was not a solid game. You didn't even cover the game. You lost by 6. That was a terrible game. Can we just call it what it is? That's a terrible game. If you shoot 1 of 25, that's terrible. If you shoot 0 of 11, which is what Westbrook did, that is terrible. And we're at the point right now where we're saying, oh, no, I thought we played solid. On to the next. What? Let me tell you something, okay? If one of my sons shot 0 of 11 in any basketball game ever, I wouldn't talk to them, number one, and you can debate parenting skills all you want. Number two, I'd be like, get outside, start shooting, and don't come in until you make about 500. Solid game. Is that what it's become? The Lakers have one of the highest payrolls in the league, and they lose by 6? That's a solid game? Doesn't make any sense. But that's the Lakers for you. You know, that's Westbrook for you. I tell you the truth, too. You know, for the guys watching on video, you see this LeBron James jersey behind me. I'm not a fan of LeBron James. The investors want the jersey up. That's fine. They can make the studio how they want it. They can't tell me what to say. I'm not a fan of LeBron James. Never have been. Never will be. All right? Is he a gifted basketball player? Absolutely. But I'm not a fan of the guy. I don't have him over Kobe. I don't have him over Jordan. Simple and plain. You could argue that point all you want. What's happening to LeBron right now is kind of unfair. These guys are... LeBron's going out playing well every night. And these guys shoot over 11. Oh, it's a solid game. A joke. What a joke. Game we gave out last night, different topic. Virginia was one of the worst offensive football games you will ever see. But we won. Virginia plus 3.5 got the job done. Now, for everyone that's listening to Sports Investors Daily, which airs on Saturdays and Sundays, and I get we drop this podcast on Friday, so obviously, if you're listening on Friday, you're not hearing the radio show. But if you're catching the radio show on Saturday and Sunday, you hear us talking about 3 games on Sports Investors Daily, sponsored by TakingVegas.com. Cincinnati, SMU, UCLA, Oregon, Texas, and Oklahoma State. All 3 of those games will be free at 888-9-WIN-NOW. That's 888-994-6669. We'll look at Cincinnati and SMU right now. You know, Cincinnati's -3, -3.5, right in that area. Tricky number because they're a better football team than SMU. But SMU, man, I'll tell you, they're on some bad ATS trends. They haven't covered their past 5 games. They're 0-4 against the spread in the past 4 conference games. They're 0-4 against the spread in their past 4 at home. They're 1-4 against the spread in their previous 5 against teams with an overall winning record. So this is a team that hasn't played well either at home or against winning teams. But Cincinnati is 0-3-1 in their last 4 on the road against the spread. So, but it's a conference they've pretty much dominated, the American Conference. So if you're looking at this game from a stats trends perspective, you would lean Cincinnati, but it's a tricky line. Very tricky number. We have this game for free. Again, the phone number is 888-9-WIN-NOW. Give you a free pick here on UCLA and Oregon. I went on radio on Thursday, all up and down California. I said, look, either I'm going to look like a genius or an idiot with this one. So here you go. Kind of like the under in the UCLA-Oregon game. We'll have a pick on the side on the phone number. But, number 9 versus number 10, important game in the Pac-12. And I'm not a Pac-12 fan, never have been. The Pac-12 will find a way to screw things up. They'll beat each other, lose to a team they shouldn't lose to. The Pac-12 does that all the time. But I just feel that this game is going to be more defensive than a lot of people think or are giving these two teams the defense's credit for. Obviously, their offenses are gifted. We know this. But if these two teams were unranked, right, I would lean more towards the over. This is an important game for CFP, college football playoff possibilities. Team gets up, they're going to look to get out of this game with a win. No one's going to look. Pac-12, you tend to try to blow teams out. No one's going to look to do that in this game. I really don't believe so. And the last time Oregon played a ranked team was BYU. That only hit 60 points, 61. I think it was 41-20. So going to go with the under. That's the free pick. If you want the side, give us a call at 888-994-6669, which is 888-9-WIN-NOW. Also have Texas and Oklahoma State. Obviously, Oklahoma State has injury concerns. Their quarterback is banged up, probably not playing. They have other injury concerns on defense. And in Texas, I mean, what Texas team shows up, right? That's the problem for the public right now. Does the Texas team that played Alabama show up? Does the Texas team that played Oklahoma in the Red River show up? Or does the Texas team that did everything in their power to try to lose a game against a bad Iowa State team last week show up? And Oklahoma State's one of those tricky teams too. That's a tricky conference. Big 12 always has been, always will be a tricky conference. We'll have that game for free as well. 888-9-WIN-NOW. 888-994-6669. The NFL finally got, well, they got it because the defense, because Andy Dalton stinks. But they finally got a high-scoring game on Thursday night. And it was somewhat entertaining because I came on here last week and I said, these Thursday night games got to go. They're terrible. I still believe that. How? Why? Why are they always bad teams? I don't get it. Is the NFL that bad at guessing? Like, how is it a bad team? Why? Every friggin' week, it's a bad team. Doesn't make any sense to me. But that said, at least it was a high-scoring game last night. Now, I don't know what the deal is with Dalton. I don't know if he's colorblind, just decided to throw the ball to the other team. I mean, 2 straight pick sixes when they're up at the end of the first half, and he decided he wanted to go into the locker room down. Okay. But at least they got a high-scoring game. But it's still a garbage football game. It was a garbage football game. 42-34, whatever the final score. It was a garbage football game. Okay? Between 2 garbage teams. And I know that's going to offend some of the fans of those teams, and I get that. But I'm telling you, it was a garbage football game. If you were lucky enough to watch it, because like I said last week, you can't even go to bars and find these games on Amazon Prime. But at the end of the day, that product has to become better for that to work. Okay? So we've touched on the Lakers. We've touched on the Thursday night football game. I did some college football breakdowns here for Saturday. Before I get to the NFL, let's talk about sports wagering as a business. Right now, in the betting market, there are more new gamblers than there have ever been at any point of time in this world. Inexperienced players, inexperienced bettors, guys who are doing it for fun, guys who are doing it for a hobby, guys who are doing it to try to win. But they don't know what they're looking at. And Vegas and the odds makers have an obligation to trick you guys. Understand that's what their job is to do. I have done radio shows since 2006. We are in 2022. I have said the same thing. If you go find my archives, I've said the same thing. The odds maker's job is to not put an accurate number on the game, number in terms of point spread. That is not their job. Their job is to make you believe both teams can win against the spread. That is their job. If you look at their percentage of the number they hit, they're generally right 9% of the time, meaning within a point either which way, which means if they put a game at -7, 9% of the time, that game will land between 6, 7, and 8. Give them a point. Give them a point either which way. They're right 9% of the time. They're not good at putting accurate numbers on game. What they're phenomenal at, what they're great at is tricking you. They're great at tricking you. Take the Seattle Los Angeles Chargers game, for example. Line opens at -7.5 Chargers. It is down to 5 as we currently are doing this podcast. That means a lot of action has come in on Seattle to drive the line down to 5. But if you look at it from an inexperienced standpoint, you get the Chargers at home less than a touchdown. They should cover that, right? If you're just being inexperienced about it, they should cover that. But could they cover that? Why is the line that way? Why is the line coming down? Is it sucker money? Is it public money? Seattle's played pretty good lately. They haven't played bad. They're 3-3. Chargers, I just saw them on Monday night. They didn't look great. They didn't look great. Why is that line what it is? And that's the trick. That's how they confuse you. Never mind the emotional aspect of it. Forget that. When you get on a team, you have no business losing the game. You lose the game and you never want to be on that team ever again. Forget that aspect of it. I'm just going off the trick. The confusion. They're great at it. And that is why many sports gamblers lose money. So what we do here at TakingVegas.com, Sports Investors Daily, and anyone can get on the phone and say, hey, bet this, bet that. You know, that's not going to help you guys. I've said it forever. I just did a radio show yesterday and I said it live in San Diego. Okay, what's going to help you guys is learning how to bet correctly. Forget the props, forget the long shots, forget the easy scores or perceived easy scores. Those don't exist. Those aren't real. Okay, what's real is treating it as an investment. Do not be emotional. The two things that people are most emotional about in this world, their money and their families. Unfortunately, sometimes in that order, because it should be flipped. But that's what people get emotional about. If you are emotional about sports gambling, you are not going to have success. So here at TakingVegas.com, you can get all the free picks you want. I think there's 20 free pick articles going to be up between College Football Saturday and NFL Sunday. Go read about them. We have some really gifted writers here. They're doing a great job. They're free picks there. But unless you know how to bet the right way, you're not going to win. If you're emotional, if you have no plan, if you have no money management, if you're undisciplined, you ain't winning. Simple and plain. I give you a free pick on under UCLA or Oregon. Hell, I could give you a free pick in the NFL under Cleveland, Baltimore. Those are our 2 free picks this week. Okay? That's what I'm giving out here on the show, and I'll continue to harp on those so you guys know. But if you win those 2 games and then screw it up with the Sunday night game or the Monday night game that you don't know anything about and you lose, what good are those free picks? The education aspect of it is key. We try to do that here at 888-9-WIN-NOW, 888-994-6669. We have our initial investment program. That's a program that is designed to make you 6 times your initial investment, only risking it twice. Maximizing profit, minimizing risk. How do we do it? Great question. Here we go. Let's say you started with $10,000. I'm going to leave the juice out. You put $10,000 on the first game. It wins. You have 20 in your hand. You're going to put 20 on the second game. That wins. After the 2 games win, you're going to pull your initial investment of $10,000 back, put it back in your pocket. You have about $30,000, again, minus the juice. We get that. I'm just keeping it nice, even, easy numbers. Now you're going to put $30,000 on the third game. That third game, yes, you're risking $30,000. Agreed. But it's $30,000 you've won, and you already have your initial investment back. So technically, in terms of money, it's a risk-free game. You're either going to win $60,000 or you're going to break even with no money of your own risk. That's how you maximize profit and minimize risk. That's why we tell you, we're not just going to give you a game here. We're going to show you how to gamble the right way at 888-9-WIN-NOW, TakingVegas.com, 888-994-6669. For the games on Sunday, Interesting board. Not many great games. Last week there were some really good games. Obviously, Dallas, Philadelphia. Buffalo, Kansas City was a great game last week. There's some weird lines. But I have to touch on this first before I get to this stuff. And oh man, the people from Cleveland aren't going to like me. And they never do. Because I've gone on and blasted that city forever. But Brownie the Elf is at midfield. Now, I know we're in week 7, but we haven't been on Cleveland games either which way, except for last week when we needed New England. And I'm watching the game, and I go, what the hell is that at midfield? What logo is that? What was wrong with the Browns helmet? Classy, easy. The Browns helmet, old school. You put Brownie the Elf? And someone in my office goes, oh, the fans voted on that? Are you guys idiots? Brownie the Elf? You can't come up with something better? Get real. You look like children. That belongs on a JV field, not an NFL field. Brownie the Elf. Ridiculous. And the product stinks to boot, too. You guys lost by 23. Brownie the Elf will be proud. It's ridiculous. So I had to get that out. I know the emails. Chris at takingvegas.com. I'll get a bunch of them from Cleveland. But that is what it is. Tricky line with the Giants and the Jaguars. Giants 5-1 playing good. Jacksonville 2-4. Jacksonville favored in the game. You know what we call that? Stay the F away. That's what we call that one. Because Giants are a better team than Jacksonville. But the line, tricky. We have Green Bay and Washington. I said this on the radio throughout the week. I'm going to say it on the Sports Investors Daily Radio Show on Saturday and Sunday. I didn't have the stats and information team that works here do this for me. I didn't think I needed to. I can't remember the last time a team lost to the Giants and the Jets in back-to-back weeks. First of all, you don't really play the Giants and the Jets in back-to-back weeks. But I don't think it's ever happened. It certainly hasn't happened recently. And that's what Green Bay pulled off. They lost to the Giants in London, and they lost to the Jets last week. You know how bad you have to be to lose to the Giants and the Jets in successive weeks? And now Washington has issues with Wentz. Not that they liked him anyway, but he's all banged up. So that's one of our free picks, Green Bay and Washington. Green Bay -5, total down to 41. Green Bay 3-3, Washington 2-4. Free pick on a recorded message, 888-9-WIN. Now, Indianapolis and Tennessee. Tennessee off a bye. Indy off a come-from-behind win against Jacksonville. That game is also for free. And then Houston and Las Vegas. Look, the record says otherwise for Houston, and you are what your record says you are. We know this. But at the end of the day, Houston is playing hard. They're 1-3-1. Las Vegas is 1-4, and I think Houston is playing better than Las Vegas. Now, we'll see if they cover the spread in this game. Las Vegas is a touchdown favorite. And again, the free pick we're giving out is under Cleveland and Baltimore. Game of the month time, Kansas City and San Francisco. Obviously, there was a trade. If you haven't heard, Christian McCaffrey goes from Carolina to San Francisco. Hey, that's a tough one for San Fran now. You got Deebo Samuel, you got Christian McCaffrey. You have no excuses. Don't tell me about Garoppolo. I don't care. Find a way to get those two guys the ball. You should make plays. I don't know if it's going to come to fruition this week with McCaffrey playing well. We'll see. But this is our game of the month, number 2. In September, our game of the month was Philadelphia over Washington. September 25th, they won by 16. Now we have Kansas City and San Francisco. That is our game of the month. If you're listening to Sports Investors Daily, you will hear us speaking about that. I'm on with Tony Powers. I'm on with Bobby Ventura. Been on with those guys for 16 years, like I always say. I say it on the AM, FM airwaves. We must be doing something right. Now I'm saying it on a podcast. Been on for a long time. So that is our pro football game of the month, Kansas City and San Francisco. By the way, in our last 3 games with Kansas City, on or against, or the total with 3-0. A few weeks ago, we went with the over when they played Tampa Bay. That was on a Sunday night. Never in doubt. That was easy. A couple weeks ago on a Monday night, we took Las Vegas +7. That should have been an outright winner over Kansas City. And then last week, we went with Buffalo. That was a close one. That went either which way. Could have went either which way, but it went our way. And a lot of these games have gone our way recently. So I like that. We're also 10-3 on weeknight pro football games. And when Chicago and New England gets here on Monday night, we'll look to make that 11-3. So it's a big weekend. 3 free picks for Saturday, 3 free picks for Sunday. Call 888-9-WIN now over at takingvegas.com. You're either listening to this podcast wherever you get your podcast, or you're actually on the website, takingvegas.com. Like I said, there's about 20 free pick articles going up. Very talented writers that we have here. So be sure to check that out. You could get free picks tonight, Tulsa and Temple. That's available at takingvegas.com. For Saturday and Sunday, there will be more free picks as well. Again, I do this podcast on Friday, so if you're listening to it on Saturday, just please understand that. And let's keep it going. We got a big weekend coming up in Vegas, November 5th. That's our next Taking Vegas weekend, number 3. Number 1 was the last weekend of September. We went 3-0, highlighted by Texas A&M beating Arkansas. That was the game where the field goal went off the very top, okay? And then we won both games in the NFL that day, highlighted by the Philadelphia game on September 25th. Last weekend, we go 3-0. It starts with the game of the year, which we nailed with Ohio. I know, Ohio, but a winner. A lot of people saying, Ohio, what the hell you guys come up with this game? Start with Ohio, went over to New England, then went over to Buffalo. So 3-0. So the last 2 times that we have done the Taking Vegas weekend, we are a perfect 6-0. The next one is coming up for November 5th, and we got some big stuff planned then. And that's going to wrap up this podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, Chris@takingvegas.com is my email. If you want the free picks, give us a call at 888-9-WIN-NOW. Most importantly, if you want to learn how to treat sports wagering as a successful business and investment, again, 888-994-6669. We'll show you how to do it. Have a great weekend, everyone. Be sure to catch us back here next week for the Taking Vegas podcast. I drop it every Friday. Have a great weekend, everyone.